The morning sky over Washington, D.C. turned from blue to orange as the massive alien ship broke through the clouds. People in the streets stopped and stared up with open mouths. Some ran, some took pictures. Most just watched in shock. Admiral Susan Rogers stood on the White House lawn with the president and other military leaders. Her hand rested on her gun, though she knew it would be useless against the visitors if they turned hostile. "They're making contact," said the radio operator next to her. A beam of light shot down from the ship and 5 tall aliens appeared. They had blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Their 4 eyes blinked at different times as they looked around. The tallest alien stepped forward. "We come from the Galactic Council," it said in perfect English. "We bring peace and friendship to Earth." The next 6 months were the happiest in human history. The aliens shared medical knowledge that cured 3 major diseases. They showed engineers how to build better, cleaner energy sources. They promised to help humans join the wider galactic community. Susan never fully trusted them. Something about the way the aliens looked at humans reminded her of how people looked at cattle. "You worry too much," her husband Paul told her one night at dinner. "They've done nothing but help us." "That's what bothers me," Susan said. "Nobody gives something for nothing." She was at the Pentagon when the first bombs fell. The room shook. Ceiling tiles crashed down. Emergency lights flashed on as the power failed. "We're under attack," someone shouted. Susan ran to the command center. The large screen showed red dots appearing over every major military base across the world. The alien ships were bombing them, all at once. "Get me the president," she ordered. The White House took a direct hit, a young officer said. His face was pale. "No survivors." Susan took a deep breath. As the highest-ranking military officer still alive, command fell to her. "Activate all defenses," she ordered, "and launch our missiles." But the defenses did little against the alien shields. The missiles exploded harmlessly against their ships. Within hours, Earth's military was in ruins. The main alien ship broadcast a message to the entire planet. The friendly alien leader now wore armor and spoke with cold authority. "People of Earth," said High Counselor Zexton, "your planet now belongs to the Galactic Council. Your resources will serve our needs. Your people will work in our mines across the galaxy. Resist, and we will destroy your cities one by one." To show they were serious, they destroyed Berlin. 8 million people died in seconds. Most governments surrendered immediately. 3 days after the attack, Susan sat in a hidden bunker deep in the Rocky Mountains. 200 military survivors from different countries had made it here. It wasn't much, but it was a start. "They think they've won," Susan told the grim-faced men and women. "They've destroyed our bases, our ships, our planes. But they don't understand humans." She pointed to a map showing alien mining operations being set up across Earth. "They need workers for their mines. They need our planet intact. That gives us room to fight back." A young soldier raised his hand. "With what?" "They beat our best weapons easily." Susan smiled for the first time in days. "Before the attack, I ordered a team to capture one of their smaller ships for study. That team succeeded." Surprised murmurs filled the room. "We have their technology now," Susan continued. "And something else they don't expect. Rage, determination, the human spirit." She pulled up images on the screen. Hidden factories in mountain caves, secret underwater bases, small groups of soldiers and scientists working around the clock. "For 6 months, I've had a bad feeling about our visitors. I set up this network, just in case. Now we'll use it." Susan pointed to a young communications expert. "Alan, send word to all resistance cells. Tell them Operation Thunderstrike begins at dawn." Alan nodded and went to work on his equipment. "What's the plan?" asked Colonel Richard Brown, who had escaped from the ruins of London. "First, we gather information. Our people who are forced to work in their mines will be our spies. We'll learn their weaknesses." Susan brought up another screen showing technical diagrams. "Second, we build weapons that can hurt them. Their shields block physical objects, but our scientists think certain energy frequencies might pass through." She stood straighter, her voice growing stronger. "Third, We take back our planet. Not in one big battle, they'd crush that, but in thousands of small fights. We'll strike and disappear, we'll destroy their equipment, we'll turn their own technology against them. Liu Wei, a Chinese general, looked doubtful. They control the skies. They can bomb any target they find. Then we don't let them find us, Susan answered. We stay hidden. We use their arrogance against them. They think they've already won. Around, the room back straightened, eyes hardened with purpose. They came to our home, Susan said quietly. They killed our people. They thought we would just accept defeat. She clenched her fist. Earth has faced wars, plagues, natural disasters. Each time we survived, we adapted, we overcame. These aliens think they know humans because they watched us from afar. They don't know what we're capable of when everything we love is threatened. Susan walked around the table, looking each person in the eyes. We are not fighting just for ourselves. We fight for everyone who died in the first attack, for the billions who now live under alien control, for every future generation of humans who deserve to be free. She stopped at the large map of Earth, now showing alien control points in red. The Galactic Council believes humanity is broken, she said. They are about to learn how dangerous Earth can be when pushed to the edge. In the darkness outside the bunker, snow began to fall. The alien ships passing overhead saw nothing but mountains and trees. They didn't detect the determination growing beneath the surface like seeds waiting for spring. The war for Earth had only just begun. John Baker gripped the controls of his small shuttle as it floated through the rings of Saturn. Ice chunks and rocks tumbled around him, some as big as houses. The shuttle's sensors beeped warnings about nearby debris. Steady, John told himself. Almost there. For 3 years before the alien invasion, John had been a pilot in the secret space program. Now, 6 months after the Galactic Council had taken over Earth, his mission was the most important one of his life. He checked the small screen on his right. No alien ships appeared on the radar. The Council didn't patrol this far from Earth. Much. They thought humans had no way to travel this deep into the solar system anymore. They were wrong. John pressed a button and sent out a special radio signal. To anyone listening, it would sound like normal space static, but hidden in the static was a code. Ahead of him, what looked like a large chunk of ice and rock suddenly changed. Part of it seemed to disappear, revealing a dark opening. Base, this is Shuttle 7, John said into his radio, requesting permission to land. Permission granted, Shuttle 7, a woman's voice answered. Welcome back to Phoenix Base. John guided his ship into the opening. Lights came on as he entered, showing a massive space inside what looked like an ordinary asteroid from the outside. Metal walls lined the interior. People in uniforms moved about on walkways, and floating in the center were ships. Many ships. He landed the shuttle on a marked platform. As he stepped out, he saw his old friend Mary Chen waiting for him. You made it, Mary said, giving him a quick hug. How was Earth? John's face darkened. Bad. The aliens have mining operations everywhere. People are forced to work in them. Food is scarce unless you cooperate with them. Then it's a good thing. You brought the plans, Mary said. John patted the front pocket of his flight suit. Right here. The complete design of the alien shield technology, stolen from their base in Colorado. Mary smiled. Dr. Wilson is waiting for us in the main lab. She'll be happy to see this. They walked together through the busy base. Phoenix Station had been built in secret 10 years ago, hidden inside an asteroid in Saturn's rings. It was supposed to be the start of humanity's journey to the stars. Now it was mankind's last hope. People nodded to John as he passed. Everyone here had a purpose. Engineers worked on ships. Scientists studied alien technology. Soldiers trained for the day they would fight back. They entered a large room where a tall woman with gray hair stood before a group of screens. Dr. Wilson, Mary said. John's back with the shield plans. Laura Wilson turned. Her tired face broke into a smile when she saw John. You made it. Any trouble getting through the blockade around Earth? None, John said, handing her a small, Data drive. They're looking for big ships trying to leave, not small ones coming back. And our cloaking technology still works. Dr. Wilson took the drive eagerly. This is exactly what we need. She inserted it into a computer, and complex diagrams appeared on the big screen. Can you make it work? John asked. We already have, Dr. Wilson said proudly. Come, let me show you our fleet. She led them to an observation deck overlooking the main hangar. Below them floated 50 ships of different sizes. When the invasion started, we had just 10 ships here, Dr. Wilson explained. Since then, we've built 40 more. John stared in amazement. How? We don't have the resources. We mine the asteroids, Mary said. There's more metal out here than on Earth. And we have 300 of Earth's best engineers and scientists living on this base. Dr. Wilson pointed to the largest ship. That's the Freedom. It's our flagship. We've been installing weapons. Based on alien technology we've captured or studied. What kind of weapons? John asked. The aliens use energy shields that stop physical objects, Dr. Wilson explained. But we found that certain energy pulses can pass through. Our new pulse cannons should be able to disable their ships without destroying them. When will the fleet be ready? John asked. 2 more weeks, Mary answered. We're just finishing the shield installations on the last 10 ships. John nodded. I should tell you what I learned on Earth. Admiral Rogers has resistance cells operating in every alien mining facility. They're gathering intelligence and sabotaging equipment when they can. They're ready to rise up when we make our move. Good, Dr. Wilson said, because we only get one chance at this. She pressed a button, and the view changed to show the whole solar system. Red dots marked alien bases, on Earth, Mars, and in orbit. The Galactic Council has about 200 ships in our solar system, Dr. Wilson explained. Most are around Earth, but they have mining operations on Mars, automated mining in the asteroid belt, and a few scout ships near Jupiter. Are 50 ships against their 200? John frowned. Those aren't good odds. Numbers don't tell. The whole story, Mary said. They've grown careless. Their ships are spread out. They don't patrol regularly because they think we're beaten, and they don't know about our secret weapon, Dr. Wilson added with a small smile. She pressed another button and an image of a small device appeared on screen. What is that? John asked. We call it the disruptor, Dr. Wilson said. It sends out a pulse that temporarily disables their energy systems. Their shields, weapons, and engines will shut down for about 5 minutes. John's eyes widened. 5 minutes is an eternity in battle. Exactly, Mary said. We hit them with the disruptor, then attack while they're vulnerable. Dr. Wilson's face turned serious. There's just one problem. The disruptor has a limited range. We need to get close to their command ship to use it effectively. How close? John asked. Very close, Dr. Wilson admitted. Whoever delivers it might not make it back. John looked at the fleet again. Earth had always seemed tiny compared to the vastness of space. Now, these 50 ships seemed even smaller against the might of an alien empire. But they were not fighting alone. Across the solar system in hidden bases on moons and asteroids, humans were preparing to fight back. The aliens thought their technology made them invincible. But they had never faced a species with nothing left to lose and everything to fight. We'll find a way, John said firmly. We always do. Grace Chen wiped sweat from her forehead as she pushed a cart of rocks down the long tunnel. The alien mining operation on Mars had been running for 4 months now. 300 humans worked there, digging for rare metals the Galactic Council needed. 2 blue-skinned alien guards watched the workers. They carried energy weapons and wore protective suits. They didn't need the suits to breathe. Mars now had an atmosphere thanks to alien technology. But the suits enhanced their strength. Move faster, human, one guard said to Grace. Grace lowered her head. Yes, master. She hated saying those words, but it was part of her act. Before the invasion, Grace had been a captain in the Army Special Forces. Now she was a spy, placed here by Admiral Rogers to gather information and prepare for the day they would fight back. That day had finally come. As she pushed her cart past a support beam, Grace pressed a small button hidden in her glove. A tiny light on the beam blinked 3 times, visible only if you knew where to look. The signal was sent. Grace continued working for another hour. Then the emergency alarm sounded. "Equipment failure in Section 7. A voice announced over the speakers. All workers returned to quarters. The guards looked annoyed. This was the 3rd equipment failure this week. What they didn't know was that Grace's team had caused all of them. As workers filed toward their living quarters, Grace gave small nods to 12 people, her team members. They broke off from the main group, one by one, taking different routes, to avoid suspicion. Grace went to the supply closet where she had hidden equipment months ago. Inside a ventilation panel, she found what she needed. A small computer device, a weapon that looked like a flashlight but was much more dangerous, and a communication unit. She changed quickly out of her mining clothes into a guard uniform she had stolen. The aliens never looked closely at humans, thinking they all looked alike. This worked to Grace's advantage. "Team 1 report," she said into the communication unit. "In position at the power center," came the reply from Sam Wright, her second in command. "Team 2 report." "Ready at the command center doors," answered Lisa Garcia. "Team 3? In the hangar, waiting for your signal," said Frank Davis. Grace took a deep breath. "Begin Operation Payback on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Mark." Across the mining facility, her team moved at once. Team 1 shut down the main power, plunging the facility into darkness. Emergency lights came on, casting red shadows through the tunnels. Team 2 used the confusion to enter the command center. The aliens inside were surprised when humans with weapons suddenly appeared. "Don't move," Lisa shouted, pointing her energy weapon at the main alien commander. Team 3 opened the airlock doors in the hangar. Outside, hidden in the red Martian landscape, 20 small fighter ships had been waiting. They flew into the hangar silently. These fighters had been built in secret on Phobos, one of Mars' moons, where another human resistance base operated. Grace ran through the tunnels toward the command center. 2 alien guards saw her and realized she wasn't supposed to be there. They raised their weapons. Grace fired first. The weapon she carried shot out a pulse of energy that disrupted the aliens' protective suits. They froze in place, unable to move. She reached the command center as Lisa's team was taking control. "Status?" Grace asked. "Command center secured," Lisa reported. 3 aliens captured, 2 stunned. Grace went to the main computer console. Using the knowledge she had gained working here, she bypassed the security and accessed the facility's defense systems. "Sam, how's the power center?" she asked through her communicator. "Secure," he answered. "We've rerouted emergency power to essential systems only. Their distress beacon is disabled." Grace smiled. "Perfect." She typed commands into the computer, disabling the automated defensive weapons around the facility. Then she sent a signal to the fighters in the hangar. "Captain Jackson, you have clearance to launch. The skies are clear." "Understood," replied Captain Jackson from the lead fighter. "Beginning Phase 2 now." The fighters took off, heading for the 3 alien warships orbiting Mars. The alien ships, thinking the fighters were friendly, didn't raise their shields in time. The human ships fired their new pulse weapons. Designed by Dr. Wilson's team, these weapons sent out energy that passed right through alien shields and disrupted their systems. All 3 alien warships drifted powerless in orbit. Grace watched on the command center screen as human boarding. Parties from Phobos base moved in to capture the disabled ships. "This is too easy," Lisa said, watching with her. "They never expected us to fight back," Grace explained. "They think we're primitives." Just then, Sam rushed into the command center. "We found something," he said, his face serious. "You need to see this." He led Grace down to a lower level of the facility, to a room they hadn't been allowed to enter before. Inside were rows of pods, each holding a sleeping human. "What is this?" Grace asked, horrified. "Some kind of experiments." Sam said, "They've been taking workers who get sick. We thought they were being treated and sent to other facilities." Grace checked a computer terminal in the room. "They're studying us," she said, after reading the alien language she had learned. "Learning our weaknesses, planning something bigger." She took out her communication unit. "Admiral Rogers needs to know about this right away." But before she could call, the facility shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. "What was that?" Lisa asked, rushing in. Frank appeared at the door. "We've got company. A Council battleship just entered Mars orbit. They must have been close by and detected the attack." Grace remained calm. "Tell Captain Jackson to hold them off as long as possible. We need 10 minutes to download all the data from this facility." As Frank left to relay the orders, Grace turned to Sam. "Get these people out of these pods. Can we wake them up safely?" Sam studied the controls. "I think so. It looks like they're just sedated." "Do it," Grace ordered. "Lisa, start downloading everything from the main computer. We need to know what they're planning." Grace went back to the command center. On the main screen, she could see the Council battleship engaging with the human fighters. The fighters were faster and more maneuverable, but the battleship was powerful. 2 fighters exploded in balls of fire. Grace opened a channel to Captain Jackson. "How long can you hold them?" "Not long enough," he replied, his voice tense. "That ship is too big, but we have a plan." One of the human-captured alien warships was moving toward the battleship. "What are they doing?" Grace wondered aloud. Then she understood. The captured warship accelerated to full speed, heading straight for the battleship. At the last second, small escape pods launched from it. The ships collided in a massive explosion. The battleship, its shields weakened from the fight with the fighters, broke apart. "Download complete," Lisa reported. "We got everything." "Good," Grace said. "Sam, how are those people?" "All 32 are awake and being moved to the transport ships," Sam answered. Grace nodded. "Then it's time to leave. Set the charges." Her team had planted explosives throughout the facility during the months they had worked there. Now they would make sure the Council couldn't use this place again. As they boarded the last transport ship, Grace looked back at the facility where she had pretended to be a slave for 4 months. The explosion started section by section until the whole complex collapsed in on itself. The ship lifted off, joining the fleet of fighters and the 2 captured alien warships. "Mission accomplished," Grace said into her communicator. "Mars is free." Similar operations were happening across the solar system. The Jupiter monitoring station, the lunar mining complex, and other Council outposts were falling to human insurgents who had been waiting for this day. The counterattack had begun. High Counselor Zexton paced back and forth in his private chamber aboard the massive Council mothership orbiting Earth. His blue skin had turned a pale gray from stress, and all 4 of his eyes blinked rapidly. "Impossible," he muttered. "Simply impossible." A chime sounded, and his door slid open. Sub-Commander Vendrell entered holding a datapad. The younger alien looked even more stressed than his leader. "Report," Zexton demanded. Vendrell's hands shook. "The situation is worse than we thought, High Counselor. We've lost contact with all our facilities on Mars. The mining operation on Earth's moon has gone silent. Our outpost near Jupiter, no longer responds." "How? How could primitive humans do this?" Zexton slammed his fist on his desk. "Their technology was centuries behind ours." "It appears they've been studying our systems," Vendrell said. "The weapons they're using, they're modified versions of our own technology." Zexton's eyes narrowed. "Is that even possible? Our systems are encoded with security measures." "They found ways around them." Vendrell showed him the datapad. "This is footage from the Mars attack." Zexton watched as small human fighters disabled a Council warship using energy pulses that penetrated their shields. His skin grew even paler. "We need to call for reinforcements," he decided. "Send a message to the Council homeworld. Tell them we need the 7th Fleet immediately." Vendrell looked down. "We can't, sir." "What do you mean we can't?" "The humans have somehow disrupted our long-range communication network. We can't send messages beyond this solar system." Zexton felt real fear for the first time since arriving at this backward planet. "How many ships do we have left?" 122 combat-ready vessels, Vendrell reported. But they're spread throughout this system. It would take days to gather them all. Do it, Zexaton ordered. Call every ship back to Earth. We'll make our stand here. As Vendrell left to carry out the orders, Zexton opened a secure channel to the emergency session of the Galactic Council. Leaders from over 200 alien species appeared as holographic projections in his chamber. Esteemed council members, Zexton began, trying to keep his voice steady. I must report an unexpected development in the Earth subjugation. We've been receiving disturbing reports, said Counselor Ithmal, a tall, thin alien with golden skin. Is it true the humans have recaptured their orbital facilities? A temporary setback, Zexton assured them. The situation is under control. Then alarms blared throughout the mothership. Red lights flashed. What is happening? Demanded Counselor Mesdar, a bulky reptilian creature. A message appeared on Zexton's screen. Earth vessels approaching. Weapons detected. I must attend to a small security matter, Zexaton said quickly. Please continue the session without me. He shut off the transmission before they could protest. Show me the approaching vessels, he commanded his ship's computer. The wall of his chamber transformed into a view screen. What he saw made him gasp. Hundreds of Earth ships were rising from the planet's atmosphere. They weren't the primitive rockets humans had used before the invasion. These ships were sleek, fast, and clearly built using Council technology. How did they hide these? Zexton whispered. His door slid open again. Vendrell rushed in, panic clear on his face. High Counselor, we're detecting energy signatures from those ships. They're equipped with pulse weapons similar to those used at Mars. Raise all shields, Zexaton ordered. Prepare to... He never finished the sentence. The ship shuddered violently as the first wave of human attacks hit. The lights flickered, then went out. Emergency lighting came on, casting the room in an eerie red glow. Shields are down, Vendrell reported, his voice shaking. Weapons offline. Engines not responding. The mothership, the pride of the Council fleet, was dead in space. On his emergency screen, Zexaton watched in horror as the same happened to ship after ship in his fleet. The human vessels moved with precision, disabling rather than destroying the Council ships. Then a new signal cut across all communication channels. A human female appeared on the screen. Attention, Galactic Council forces. This is Admiral Susan Rogers of Earth's United Defense Force. Your invasion of our world was unwarranted, and your intentions to enslave humanity have been made clear. As you've now discovered, we are not as defenseless as you presumed. She paused, letting her words sink in. In the past 24 hours, we have reclaimed our solar system and captured 17 of your warships intact. We are currently reverse engineering your faster-than-light technology. Be advised that any further aggressive action against Earth will be met with immediate and overwhelming retaliation. The transmission ended, leaving Zexaton staring at a blank screen. It's a bluff, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. They can't possibly have mastered our technology so quickly. A new alarm sounded. Sir, Vendrell said, checking his portable scanner. Human boarding parties have breached the lower decks. They're moving through the ship. Zexaton slumped in his chair. His great victory, the subjugation of Earth that was supposed to earn him the position of Supreme Counselor, had turned into the worst defeat in Council history. Back in the Council chamber on the distant planet Centrum, the emergency session continued. The leaders of the most powerful coalition in the galaxy watched in stunned silence as footage from the Earth battle played before them. They captured our ships, Counselor Mesdar whispered. Do they understand what they'll find in the navigational databases? Counselor Ithmal's golden skin had paled to a sickly yellow. The coordinates to every Council homeworld. How could this happen? Demanded another counselor. Humans were primitives. They had barely reached their own moon when we arrived. An aide approached Ithmal and whispered something in her ear. Her eyes widened. I've just received word, she announced to the chamber. The humans have discovered the harvesting pods on Mars. A collective gasp went through the room. If they learn what we were planning for their species, Mesdar couldn't finish the sentence. They already know, said a new voice. All eyes turned to Counselor Jack Sevier, the oldest member of the council. His wrinkled gray face showed no emotion, but his voice carried across the chamber. We have made a terrible mistake, he continued. We judged the humans by their technology, not by their spirit. We saw their divisions and conflicts and thought them weak. We did not recognize their greatest strength. Which is? Ithmal asked. Adaptability, Jack Sevier answered. In the face of extinction, they set aside their differences. They studied our technology and improved upon it in mere months. They turned our weapons against us. He stood shakily, leaning on his staff. In 10,000 years of council expansion, we have encountered many species. Some fought bravely and died. Some surrendered and served. None has done what the humans have accomplished today. The chamber fell silent as the council members considered his words. What do we do now? Someone finally asked. Jack Sevier looked at the image of Earth displayed in the center of the room. The blue planet seemed so small, so insignificant. Yet from it had come the greatest challenge the council had ever faced. We negotiate, he said simply. For the first time in our history, the Galactic Council must make peace with a species as equals, or we risk destruction at their hands. No one in the chamber disagreed. 6 months after the Great Battle of Earth, representatives from across the galaxy gathered at a space station orbiting Tau Ceti, a neutral star system. The station was built specially for this historic meeting. Admiral Susan Rogers stepped off, her ship, the Freedom, and looked around. The docking bay held ships of many strange designs. Some were smooth and rounded, others were sharp and angular. Each belonged to a different alien species. Susan wore her best uniform with medals that showed her rank. Behind her walked John Baker, Dr. Laura Wilson, and Grace Chen, heroes of Earth's resistance. With them came representatives from 7 alien races who had also been conquered by the Galactic Council. A tall, thin alien with golden skin approached them. Welcome, Admiral Rogers. I am Counselor Ithmal. I will show you to the meeting room. Susan nodded. She kept her face calm, but inside she felt a mixture of pride and caution. 6 months ago, these aliens had tried to enslave humanity. Now they were greeting her as an equal. The meeting room was huge with a round table in the center. Around it sat aliens of every shape, size, and color. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Susan could hardly tell which parts were heads and which were bodies. At the far end sat High Counselor Zexitan. He looked smaller now, his once bright blue skin faded to a dull gray. When he saw Susan, he lowered all 4 of his eyes, a sign of respect in his culture. Let us begin, said the oldest council member Jack Sevier, as Susan took her seat. Susan placed a data pad on the table. The terms are simple, she said. Earth and all human colonies will be recognized as sovereign territory. The same goes for the 7 races represented here, who helped us fight for freedom. She gestured to the 7 alien representatives sitting with her team. Sexton picked up his own data pad and read the agreement carefully. And what do we get in return? He asked. Peace, Susan answered. We won't use the navigation data we found in your ships to attack your homeworlds. A murmur went through the room. The council members had feared this most of all, that humans would use their own tactics against them. There's more, Dr. Wilson added. We will share certain technologies we've developed. Share? With us? Ithmal asked, surprised. Dr. Wilson nodded. Our scientists have created a more efficient, faster-than-light drive system, and our medical researchers have found treatments for 3 diseases currently harming council worlds. The message was clear. Humans didn't want revenge. They wanted respect. The council members talked among themselves in low voices. Finally, Zexitan spoke. We accept these terms, he said, pressing his thumb to the data pad to sign the agreement. As the meeting ended, Susan felt a great weight lift from her shoulders. The war was truly over. Humanity had won not just their freedom, but a place among the stars. Later, as Susan walked alone through the station's observation deck, she found Zexaton staring out at the stars. "Admiral Rogers," he said, acknowledging her presence. "High Counselor," she replied. They stood in silence for a moment. "We found records of your previous conquests," Susan finally said. 23 species that resisted and were wiped out. Zexaton's skin darkened with shame. "You're lucky we believe in second chances," Susan continued. "But understand this. If the Council ever threatens another intelligent species again, you won't receive the mercy we've shown today." As she walked away, Susan looked out at the vast sea of stars. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council had ruled through fear and superior technology. One small planet had changed everything. The human spirit, adaptable, determined, and surprisingly merciful, had done what no other species had managed. It had created a new balance of power in the galaxy. Earth was no longer alone in the universe, and the universe would never be the same. End.